Alright, what's up internet? JBroadway here with another sound design tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Arturia Pigments 2. I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful, lush sounding pad really quick. This is probably by far the easiest method I've ever come across to create a pad really fast. And for example, let me show you what we're going to actually be making here today. All right, let's get right into the tutorial. Okay, we're gonna start off with a blank instance of Pigments. So to do that, just click here and do new preset. If I go to engine 1 here and click sample, you'll see that we have 6 sample slots available. Here, default grand piano is just loaded in. But actually what we're gonna do is we're gonna sample some sounds and we're going to drag it into Pigments and we're gonna make use of this granular engine here. So to do that, we're just gonna use Flex because Flex is a free FL Studio stock plugin that comes with every version of FL Studio. And it's really easy to just find really nice sounding presets. So I'm just gonna click the dice here to select a random preset. And we'll just play it to see how it sounds. So this sounds really cool. So I'm gonna open up Edison here. I'm gonna make sure this is on set to record on input, hit the record button, and I'm just gonna hit middle C on my keyboard. All right, that sounds good. Let's find another sound. This one sounds cool. Oh, this sounds really good. All right, we got 4 sounds. We just need 2 more. Let's do something with a little bit interesting characteristics. Okay, this one, Electric Garden, sounds really cool. Let's record that in. Okay, now in Edison, I'm gonna hit Control A and do Control N to normalize the sounds. And let's just start dragging them into Pigments. Now, I can't actually just grab it and drag it into Pigments. First, you have to drag it into like the channel rack. And then once you open this up, then you can drag it into Pigments. So there's our first sample there. Let's go and grab the second one, dragging it here and then into Pigments. Okay, I got all the samples dragged into Pigments. Next, we're gonna go to the map section here and we're gonna select random. And what this means is now every single time I press a key, it will randomly select between a preset, which is really cool. Now, where it gets interesting, we're gonna go back to the main section. We're gonna turn on the granular engine. And as you can see, now it's flipping between all of the random samples at a really fast rate. And we can control the amount of grains and how long we want each of the samples to be with these 2 knobs here. The density knob, you can see if I have this down low, it just takes a very small slice. I can increase the length of that slice with the time section here. But in the case of this sound, we're gonna bring it up significantly. Okay, now you can start to hear the characteristic of the pad itself. So this is something that I particularly really like about Pigments, is the granular engine. I think the granular engine is probably one of the best ones on the market, at least from what I've seen, and it allows you to do some really creative stuff, like create pads like this. Okay, but we're not done yet. We're gonna go over to the effects section here. We can actually remove these, set these to none, because in the first one here, we just wanna add in a reverb. And then let's turn up the dry, maybe to like 80%, see how that sounds. And right off the bat, we have a really nice sounding pad with really not that much work. Typically when you're designing pads from scratch, it takes quite a long time to get the characteristics just right, you know, finding the right wavetable. But I found using this method it's a really quick way to get some really lush pads. And I'm not even done yet. We're not even done with designing the sound yet. Anyways, in the reverb section, just tweak the parameters to your liking. I find turning up the decay a little bit and messing with the size of the reverb and the dry wet knob will really help to shape the pad. In envelope 1, we can turn up the release to give it a more pad-like characteristic. So one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the edit section on the sample and I'm just gonna turn down the gain on all of these, right? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix in each one of these samples individually to just to give it a nice, more full sound. So let's start with A here. That's sounding really good. Let's mix in B now. The thing I can do is I can go into individual samples, for example, and I can change the root note. So if I want to bring this up an octave, I just got to bring this down to like C2, for example. And maybe let's do that for C, or for A2. Let's bring this up an octave to C2. Another thing we can do on the effects section, we can add in a compressor, just so to prevent clipping. And let's bring down the threshold just a tiny bit. Okay, one thing I want to do is I'm going to take the reverb and bring it to the middle slot. And then on the first slot, let's add in a delay. Now I'm going to mute the reverb just so we can hear how the delay is affecting the sound. So maybe give it some feedback, turn up the dry. And let's set this to time. All right, now when we enable the reverb, let's see how that sounds. Also, let's turn up the stereo spread a little bit on the delay. Okay, we're clipping a little bit, so let's turn down the volume a little bit. We can also adjust with the filter one cut off to shape the sound. You know, to finalize the sound, what we can do is we can go into Engine 2 here. We can add in a analog engine. Let's disable Engine 1 so we hear what we're doing here and turn on Engine 2. What I want is like a sine wave. And then let's bring it down -12 semitone, so an octave, just to get a lower register. And then we can send this to filter 2. Let's turn on filter 2, and then let's do the filter routing all the way to the right, so they're running in parallel. That means that filter 2 is completely independent of filter 1. And let's just take out some of the high end, you know, just to give the pad a little bit more low end characteristics. Maybe turn the volume a little bit. Alright guys, and there you have it. That's a quick and fast way to make some really beautiful sounding pads with Arturia Pigments 2. What I love about this sound design method is not only is it a fast way to create some really cool sounds, depending on the sample that you drag into Arturia Pigments, the sound that you get is going to be completely different every single time. And in the next part of the video here, I'll show you a couple sounds that I made just using this method. Got some really nice stuff for you. Here's another one I call Dreams of Lust. Alright, that's it for today's tutorial, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other content and to subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comment section down below what other sound design tutorials you'd like to see, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.